The cold, wet concrete pressed against her face. Confused and alone, she had been awaiting a trial for nearly 6 months. She could hear guards shuffling around the hallway outside her cell. Full of anxiety, all she could do was hope that one of them had finally come to tell her what was going to happen. Her Bali vacation had not gone as planned. Welcome to the Trap Tree series. Please hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below, follow us on all the social medias. And if you would like to become a member of our subscription platform where you can get access to exclusive content, go to www.highdesign.media. There's a free version and as well as there is a paid version. Go check that out. Anyways, this is LMC. Let's run it. So, Chappelle Corby's name became synonymous with controversy and international intrigue when she was arrested in 2004 for smuggling pot into Bali. Her case drew extensive media attention and divided public opinion, with Corby consistently claiming her innocence, but the Indonesian legal system finding her guilty. What's true and what's not? Well, all that this video can do is present you with what we know about the case and leave you to decide. But let's start at the very beginning. So, the third of her mother's 6 kids, Chappelle Leigh Corby, was born on July 10th, 1977 in the Gold Coast suburb of Tungan, Queensland, Australia. Her parents got divorced when she was just a baby, and she dropped out of secondary school in year 11 to enroll in a part-time beauty therapy course at a technical and further education institute. So she was a pretty normal kid and had pretty normal childhood. Even going into adulthood, there's nothing about her life that really stands out or indicates that she might have had dreams of being a pot smuggler. She met a Japanese man in the mid-1990s, got married in 1998, and moved to Japan with her new husband. While there, she worked at a Japanese inn while her husband worked in the hospitality industry. Their marriage did not last though, and Corby moved back to Australia in 2000. On her way back to Australia, she had a stopover in Bali, the same place where she probably couldn't have guessed that she would be arrested a couple of years later. The reason she stopped over in Bali was because her older sister lived there with her husband, so there was nothing particularly alarming about the visit. She visited with her sister and then continued on her way to Australia until the fateful year of 2004. On October 8th, 2004, Corby was on her way to Sydney from Brisbane, and she decided to take a pit stop at Bali. Now, this time around, she was going with her brother and 2 friends, and unfortunately, she didn't get to visit with her sister like she planned. Instead, she was accosted by customs upon her arrival at the Negara Ra International Airport in Despari, Bali. Excuse my pronunciation on that. And 4.2 kilograms or 9.3 pounds of pot were found in her body board bag. Yo, what's up, G?
Yo, did you go to the plug? You pick up?
Yeah, I did.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is getting pretty out of hand, bro. This is pretty...
Dude, there's roaches in there.
I know, dude. I know.
What are we gonna do?
Bro, I don't know.
Whoa. Have you heard of LMC?
What are you talking about?
Dr. Smoke.
Shout out to our homies over at Dr. Smoke. If you guys go to drsmoke.com, use my code LMC, you're gonna get 15% off your time. Okay, what is it? Let's go. Yeah. Man, this, bro. I'm not trying to buy from Randy anymore.
No way.
Randy's got that booth.
Randy.
He got that shit, bro. What are we looking at? These are crazy. Look at that.
I'm gonna order some right now.
Look at that. That's Sweet Heat Platinum THCA flower for what?
Damn.
And the thing, bro, I literally got a quarter from Randy. Shit's looking like ass, looking like some butt. And we could have just been doing this the whole time.
They've got cookies.
They've got different products from all over the country.
Putting in our address.
All right, let's do it.
All
And then make sure, let's use LMC 15 right now.
Wait, what was that again?
LMC 15.
LMC 15.
We're gonna get 15% off, it looks like.
Oh, that makes it even better deals.
Let's go.
All right.
What? We got the 1.5 gram
On the
diamond
way.
infused pre-roll for
$7?
$5. No, it's got the discount on it.
You're right.
Holy shit.
$5.
Man.
They got disposables. They got edibles.
That's crazy. They've got hundreds of products, looks like. And really, what Randy had literally Randy had that boof pack, that butt, and it was that's all he had.
We're never gonna talk to Randy again.
Randy, bro.
Block Randy right now.
And shout out to Dr. Smoke.
Block.
Hey guys, really appreciate you guys for supporting me, for watching the content. I hope you guys enjoy it. And like I said, throughout the last, year pretty much, this Dr. Smoke has been one of the absolute main reasons why we've been able to up the production quality, up the amount of videos, be able to actually bring people on the team. And, by going over to drsmoke.com using my discount code LMC15, you're going to get 15% off your entire order. But really, it helps, one, you're getting some quality products, and two, you're going to be help supporting the channel. But really appreciate you all. Thanks again for rocking with me. Big shouts out to Dr. Smoke. Now let's jump back into the content. Now, even without going into detail of the trial, there are some things that just seemed off about this, right? For one, the stash of weed that was found in her bag was double wrapped in a plastic vacuum sealed bag. But the bodyboard bag was unlocked, which doesn't make sense if she knew that there was something in her bag that she didn't want to be found. Plus, the fact that it was unlocked means that anybody could have planted the pot in her bag. Or could that have just been some kind of strategy? Anyway, we're not here to play detectives, but we're just here to lay out the facts. So now, on to the trial. So, the pot discovery understandably led to Corby's arrest, and she faced charges of drug smuggling, a crime punishable by death by firing squad in Indonesia. She was put in jail without bail, and the trial began not too long after that. The court case was an international frenzy, catching the attention of many, especially Australians, who firmly believed that Corby was innocent. During the trial, Corby's traveling companions were called up to testify. All three of them claimed that they had seen Corby's bag before they left for the airport, and that all that was in the bag were her flippers and yellow bodyboard, no pot. Corby also vehemently denied being the owner of the pot stash, suggesting that someone must have put the wrap in there when no one was watching. However, the customs officials insisted that the stash that they found in her bag was hers. According to them, when they first tried to search her bag, Corby refused to open it for them, to which Corby mentioned that she actually did open the bag herself when she was asked. It would have been easy to determine who was telling the truth, but very conveniently, there was no CCTV footage of the entire altercation was retrieved or even preserved, which is weird, right? Something's fishy going on here. Still, Corby's lawyers did what they could to get Corby a not guilty sentence. They argued that Corby must have been a victim of some nefarious baggage handlers who wanted to use her or her bag to move some pot from Brisbane to Sydney. They didn't have any evidence for this, but a former head of operations for the Australian Federal Police's Internal Investigation Unit also mentioned that things like that were common. That is, that there has been passengers who have been unwittingly used to transfer illegal substances between domestic airports in Australia. In fact, according to the Sydney Morning Herald, the day that Corby was found with the stuff in her bag was the same day that a large shipment of powder was shipped out of the same airport. And apparently the shipment was made by a drug ring that was involved in some corrupt baggage handlers. So that kind of makes a lot of sense, right? So Corby's defense team seemed to think that this corroborated their claims, but it was quickly shut down, not only because what was moved was powder and not pot, but also because the shipment was going out of Australia, not into Australia, which is where Corby was headed. Now, the defense team did not let go of this line of defense, though. They actually went as far as flying a prisoner out of Australia into Indonesia who claimed to have some evidence. According to this prisoner, John Patrick Ford, he had overheard a conversation between two men in prison where one of them claimed to have planted the stash of pot in Corby's bodyboard bag. They probably knew about the case before it was widely televised in Australia at the time. Anyway, Ford went on to say that the one guy claimed that the plan was for someone to discreetly remove the stash from Corby's bag on arrival in Sydney. However, there was a mix-up which resulted in the stash being transported to Indonesia, where it was found on Corby. When asked to name the guy, as this would have closed the case, Ford refused. The prosecution team latched onto this, claiming that Ford's testimony was just hearsay, which is understandable because this is someone who was facing a trial for a number of offenses in Australia. Could they really trust what, they had to say? However, it is really curious that upon return to prison in Australia, Ford was beaten and stabbed. His wife claimed that it was because of the testimony that he had given, but it also could have been because he had just been convicted for sexual assault, which, as we know, the prison rules, those Those kind of offenders usually don't last too long, or they have to be separated from the rest of the general population. Now, there was another theory that cropped up a few years later. Apparently, Alexander Downer, a former Australian foreign minister, mentioned to Corby's defense lawyer a few years later that he suspected that Corby's travel companions maybe had something to do with it. Again, there was and still is no evidence for this, but you'd have to agree that it seems plausible. Just for the fact that they had access to her bag way before they got to the airport. That said, if you've been following so far, you would have to agree that there are a number of weird things happening in this situation. I already mentioned that even though Corby's insisted that the pot was planted on her, there was conveniently no CCTV footage of the interaction between Corby and the customs officials presented during the proceedings. But that was not the only thing that could have helped exonerate her, that she was refused. Apparently, at Brisbane Airport, right before they boarded, Corby's bag and those of her companions were not weighed individually, but they were weighed collectively with a collective weight of 65 kilograms. Now, apparently Corby had asked the customs officials to weigh their bags again after they found the stash with her. This way, they could be able to tell if something was added. However, while this sounds completely reasonable, her request was refused for an undisclosed reason. To make things even more curious, requests by the defense team for the bag to be fingerprinted were denied. Sure, the bag had been handled by customs officials, but it was double wrapped, so the second layer had not been contaminated. Fingerprinting, it might have helped determine that Corby did not put that stash in her bag. However, the prosecution claimed that there were no need for fingerprints to be taken because the stash was found on Corby. They were not even trying to determine who it belonged to, so the bag was never fingerprinted. To show you how heavily involved Australia was in this case, the then Foreign Affairs Minister announced that the government would be requesting permission from Indonesia to test the pot to determine its origin. The idea here was that testing the pot would determine that it was grown in Indonesia, which would mean that Corby could have been the owner of the stash. Unfortunately, the minister later had to retract his statement, mentioning that Australian government did not have jurisdiction in the case. What's more, the Bali police refused to provide them with a sample of the pot, but it was unfortunate for Corby because every avenue that could have helped clear things up in her favor had been hit with roadblocks. Corby's defense's last address to the court happened on April 29th, 2005, 6 months after she was arrested initially at the airport. All this time, she had been in prison as she wasn't allowed bail, but she maintained her innocence during the last address, pleading with the judges to look into their hearts and show compassion. Whether or not they took her pleas to heart, we'll never know. What we do know is that in a verdict and sentencing that were widely televised, Corby was found guilty and sentenced to 20 years in prison. In addition to that, she was fined 100 million IDR, worth close to around $13,000 in US, with an additional 6 months in prison if she refused to pay that money. Now, if you would believe it, the prosecution actually appealed the decision to the High Court looking for a life imprisonment sentence, but the defense also appealed the decision seeking a retrial. Now, the trial was granted, and while Corby was still found guilty, the sentence was reduced to 15 years. Still, pretty crazy, right? Both sides appealed the decision again to the Supreme Court for the same reasons as before. Unfortunately for the defense team, the High Court's decision was overturned, reinstating the original 20-year sentence. What's more is that the Supreme Court ordered that the body board bag and the pot be destroyed, signaling the end of the case. Now, Corby and her team didn't think that was the end, though. They continued to appeal and continued to get rejected. That is until 2010, when they made a clemency appeal to the Indonesian president on humanitarian grounds. In 2012, the president granted her a 5-year sentence reduction, and Corby's life in prison was a peaceful one. Well, as peaceful as life in prison can be. She kept out of trouble and even helped other women with their personal grooming. She also spent time making jewelry for some of her cell block mates. She tried to get permission to run a beauty school inside of the jail, but nothing much came of it. Now, Corby also struggled with depression and had to be taken out of prison to the hospital for treatment. Her struggle with depression was actually the basis for her defense team's appeal to the president. And it's possible that her official diagnosis was the reason that the appeal resulted in a reduced sentence for her. So, on February 10th, 2014, 9 years after she was sentenced, Corby was released on parole. Because she was on parole, she had to remain in Bali and continue to check in with the Bali Corrections Bureau on a monthly basis, until she was finally released in May of 2017. Even after her release, Chappelle Corby had maintained her innocence. She has written a book about her experience and appeared in media interviews to share her side of the story. Still, there have continued to be differing opinions on her innocence. Some people believe completely that she was innocent and had no idea that the pot was in her bag, while others think that she is just a good actor that managed to get a lighter sentence than she deserved. or in accordance to the laws of Bali, right, Indonesia. Hey guys, if you guys are looking for some high quality flavors at some high quality prices, go over to my friends at phenohunt.com. It's www.phenohunt.com. You go over there. We've got, the Mac one from Capulator. We've got the Oreo Blitz. So many other amazing flavors. So if you want to support the show, you also want to get some great clones at a great price, definitely come check us out over at phenohunt.com. Use my discount code LMC20. You're gonna get 20% off your entire order. Again, LMC20, you get 20% off your entire order. That's www.phenohunt.com. See you there. Boop. Whatever the case, Corby has not been shy about living her life out loud since her release. She is very active on her various social media platforms and is now somewhat of an internet celebrity in her own right. And then in 2020, she participated in the reality show SAS Australia, immediately injecting a surge of popularity to the show thanks to the controversy surrounding her. She also participated in the 2021 season of Dancing with the Stars. In the midst of all that, she manages to have time to engage in all things that she loves. Living on the Gold Coast affords her the opportunity to surf to her heart's content. And she has also taken up painting and creating bespoke clocks and even selling her works on eBay and Instagram. Where you might think that Corby would decide to avoid the prison where she came out of, and maybe even Bali altogether, Corby decided to face her demons in celebration of her 6th year out of prison. She went on a night tour of the prison, even posing for a photo behind bars, and then shared the snippets of her tour on her Instagram page, an Instagram page where she is still very active on today, like we said. Now, this case is full of mystery from start to finish and highlights the controversy surrounding the prosecution of foreign nationals outside their home country. Laws differ around the world, and it is important to remember that the ignorance of the law will never hold up as a defense in court. So always remember to be aware of local laws and customs if you choose to consume pot while traveling. It may just be a hit of a joint rather than a kilos in your suitcase that could land you in prison in some countries. And then we also have to think too, this is a very, very wild case, really tragic, honestly, if she was, regardless, even if she was smuggling it doesn't matter. It's still, a ludicrous, sentence. But we have to realize that there are people in jail in America and, in other countries that are still in jail for some stuff like that. And yeah, it's the thing about I think a lot of people do forget about. It's kind of why I do this Trap Tree series, is to help remember the folks that sacrificed and that took those major risks, because there's, people got life for this, right? They got life for this plant. Anyways, what do you guys think about this case? Do you think that she was innocent or guilty? Let us know down below in the comments. And definitely make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. Also follow us on social medias. And like I said, guys, if you would like to be a member of the High Design platform, you're gonna get access to exclusive content. You're gonna get early access to content. You're also gonna start to offer a number of other products and other shows as well. They're gonna be exclusively on that platform. So just go to www.highdesign.media and you can sign up. There's a free and a paid version, but there's a free version. So if you can't afford the paid version, which is, only $4.99, it's a cup of coffee, or you can do the annual, which is $50. But if you guys can't afford that, you can just get the free one. Anyways, guys, I really, really appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Anyways, this is LMC signing out. Yee. So the Chappelle Corby case is definitely really interesting. It's a fascinating story. What do you guys think, though? Did she do it? Did she not? Was she set up? These are the questions, we tried to answer here. But yeah, guys, if you guys like the Trap Tree series, definitely make sure to hit the like button, share this, comment all down below. But if you guys want to get access to a bunch more Trap Tree series episodes that we, either took down or we haven't released yet, or we're not going to release, because of, a number of different reasons, you can go access them on our streaming site. If you go to www.highdesign.media and you sign up, there's a free version too. There's also a paid version. But if you go there, we have I think 10 plus different Trap Tree series episodes. Like I said, whether we took them down for a number of different reasons or we didn't even upload them because they were, a little bit too wild. You can go check them all out though on the highdesign.media streaming website. And yeah, guys, we're going to be kind of doing a little bit less of the Trap Tree series as much as we used to, just right for the next, for this coming year. We're still going to be putting out a Trap Tree series episode probably once a month, maybe once every, but we're going to be moving some other different formats, different shows. But like I said, if you guys want to access the old catalog of the crazy Trap Tree series episodes, go to www.highdesign.media. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you all. Thanks for rocking with me. I can't tell you guys that enough. And yeah, guys, make sure to hit the like button, share this, comment down below, and follow us on all the social medias. Anyways, this is LMC Signing out.